Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of New Bern. We're glad that you have joined us on our Facebook page for this live streaming worship service. Happy Easter to all of you, and may you be safe in your homes.
Our chalice reading this morning is by E.E. Cummings. I thank you, God, for most this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees, and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today. This is the sun's birthday. This is the birthday of life and of love and wings and the gay, great, happening, illimitably earth. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing, any lifted from the no of all nothing, human merely being, doubt unimaginable you? Now the ears of my ears awake, and the eyes of my eyes are opened.
This morning, for Joys and Sorrows, I want to remind you that we are doing this privately through our email service. So if you want to get email from Nina, who does our email, go to our website at uufnb.org and contact us through our website and let people know that you want our weekly update and our update on joys and concerns. I begin by expressing several joys and sorrows. First, a joy for all the workers who do so much in our health care system, who are fighting this with such courage and spirit and dedication. I drop a stone of grief for all who have passed away from this global pandemic. And a stone of hope that those who mourn shall be comforted. And a stone for everyone who is doing their best to prevent the spread of this illness by staying home. And a stone of concern that those who aren't taking this seriously will be enlightened and learn to care for themselves and for others. And I drop one last stone for all those joys and sorrows that are not expressed. I ask you now to close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Be grateful for that breath. Be hopeful in this time of fear. Listen as I read this Easter reading from Sarah York. In the tomb of the soul, we carry secret yearnings, pains, frustration, loneliness, fears, regrets, worries. In the tomb of the soul, we take refuge from the world and its heaviness. In the tomb of the soul, we wrap ourselves in the security of darkness. Sometimes this is a comfort, sometimes this is an escape. Sometimes it prepares us for experience, sometimes it insulates us from life. Sometimes this tomb life gives us time to feel the pain of the world and reach out and heal others. Sometimes it numbs us and locks us up with our own concerns. In this season where light and dark balance the day, we seek balance for ourselves. Grateful for the darkness that has nourished us, we push away the stone and invite the light to awaken us to the possibilities within us and among us. Possibilities for a new life in ourselves and in our world. A friend of my mother, a pious lady, once told her that it's a sin to be angry. And my mother, knowing her Bible, said, "Well, what about Jesus when he cleared the temple?" And the woman got shocked and said, "That wasn't anger, that was righteous indignation." But I argue that righteous indignation is really the only true form of anger. There are lots of times that we see an angry face that has nothing to do with anger. Some people yell when their body or emotions are threatened. This is not anger. This is really fear and defensiveness. And if you think back to long ago when we could watch sports on TV, the face of a competitor during a fight or a basketball game or even a non-contact sport like soccer, even sometimes in gymnastics, the face of competition is fierce and looks angry. But that's really desire and passion and drive. True anger is directed at correcting a wrong. Anger can be righteous. When injustice is present, being silent and agreeable is help to the oppressor. Anger has an agenda. By looking at Jesus and his anger, we get a clue to his agenda. In Luke 4:18, Jesus started his preaching career by reading from Isaiah 61. "The Spirit of the Eternal is upon me, because it has anointed me to preach the good news to the poor. It has sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and the recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised." The word anointed in this passage is from the Greek word kreo. The noun form of the word is Christ. Christianity should follow the agenda of Jesus to heal and provide deliverance. The clearing of the temple was an example of Jesus acting on his anger. He attacked the religious people of his day, saying, "Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you are like whitewashed tombs, which outwardly appear beautiful, but within they are full of dead man's bones and uncleanness. So you outwardly appear righteous to men, but within you are full of hypocrisy and iniquity." And we have seen this in some preachers of mega churches who think that the safety of people is an affront to their faith. They say that the Lord will protect his followers from a virus and they should come and publicly display their faith in Jesus, and people should be willing to die for Jesus in the sake of this virus. And this is a misunderstanding, because the Lord gave human beings wisdom. And when we refuse to use the dictates of science and our best understanding, we are not following the gifts that we have been given. Also in this passage, when Jesus is saying, "Woe to the Pharisees," he talks about their iniquity. And iniquity is my favorite word for sin. The word sin usually makes my skin crawl a bit. But iniquity, I think of what that root is, and it's the same root that comes from the word inequity. The second principle of Unitarian Universalism calls us to justice, equity, and compassion. We need to make sure that our society is equitable. Minimum wage workers who are the hardest hit by the current pandemic, many do not have health insurance. Those who had health insurance lost it when they got laid off. COVID-19 has laid bare the inequity of our nation. And we see this inequity that has visited our country from generation to generation through all our past abuses and oppressions. This first song that Gail and I are going to sing calls us to be angry about injustice, to be righteously indignant like Jesus. He was nonviolent, but he did express his anger. I'm not just angry, I'm angry for a reason. I'm not just trying to please somebody looking for a fight. There's a method to my madness, change of season, change of address, change of habits so ingrained. Anger might not break the chains. I'm angry at you, I'm angry at me. I'm angry at the people who just want to let things be. I'm angry at him, I'm angry at her. I'm angry at the tragic things that we endure. But I'm not just angry, I'm angry for a reason. And I'm not just trying to please somebody looking for a fight. There's a method to my madness, change of season, change of address. Habits so ingrained, anger might not break the chains. I'm mad about money, I'm mad about the poor. I'm mad about the insanity that pays a price of I'm madly in love, I'm madly in hate. I guess I'm gonna be angry until I get it straight. But I'm not just angry, I'm angry for a reason. And I'm not just trying to please somebody looking for a fight. There's a method to my madness, change of season, change of address. Habits so ingrained, anger might not break the chains. I'm caught in confusion, I'll hobble with a cane, hoping that my anger will bring about a change. Don't tell me about Jesus, turning the other cheek. When he destroyed the temple, he was not being meek. I'm not just angry, I'm angry for a reason. I'm not just trying to please somebody looking for a fight. There's a method to my madness, change of season, change of address. Need a habit so ingrained, anger might not break the change. Anger might just break the change. Anger might just make a change. Jesus preached in the Sermon on the Mount, "Blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the meek." He also taught to turn the other cheeks, and these philosophies seem to counter being angry. But being nonviolent does not mean being passive. Luke records the Sermon on the Plain, where Jesus adds to his Beatitudes, the blessings, the woes. But woe to you that are rich, for you have received your consolation. Woe to you that are full now, for you shall hunger. Woe to you that laugh now, for you shall mourn and weep. Woe to you when all speak well of you, for so their ancestors did to false prophets. The sense of changing the social order, of turning upside down, appears throughout the gospel and even in the Old Testament. When Mary conceived Jesus, she quoted a hymn from the Old Testament. It's called the Magnificat. And it also talks about turning the society upside down. He has shown his strength with his arms. He has scattered the proud and the imagination of their hearts. He has put down the mighty from their thrones and exalted those of low degree. He has filled the hungry with good things, and the rich he has sent empty away. And this is why Martin Luther King Jr., a disciple of Jesus, at the end of his life was leading a poor people's march. The promise of the gospel were not only for the dead, they are for the living. In his 1967 essay, Where Do We Go From Here?, he wrote, "It's all right to talk about long white robes over yonder in all of its symbolism, but ultimately people want something, some suits, some dresses, and shoes to wear down here. The right to talk about the streets flowing with milk and honey. But God has commanded us to be concerned about the slums down here and his children who can't eat 3 squares of meals a day. It's all right to talk about the New Jerusalem, but one day God's preacher must talk about New York, the new Atlanta, the new Philadelphia, the new Los Angeles, and the new Memphis, Tennessee. This is what we have to do. What is needed is a realization that power without love is reckless and abusive. And love without power is sentimental and anemic. Power at its best is love implementing the demands of justice. And justice at its best is power connecting everything that stands against, correcting everything that stands against love." This next song is called He Calls Us to Love. There was a man, you know his name, he was a radical for change. He told us to give our lives so that we could keep our lives. He called us to love. He called us to love. Blessed are the peacemakers, blessed are the meek, blessed are the mighty ones that turn the other cheek. He called us to love. He called us to love. Heaven is not your high society, filled with praise and pompous piety. It will be right here on earth when we learn to love. Faith without works is dead. Can't you get it through your head? Why do we talk the talk when we don't walk the walk? He called us to love. He called us to love. Heaven is not your high society, filled with praise and pompous piety. It will be right here on earth when we learn to love. Why do we talk the talk when we don't walk the walk? Why do we talk
talk the talk when we don't walk the walk? Why do we talk the talk when we don't walk the walk? Why do we talk the talk when we don't walk the walk? He called us to love. He called us to love. He called us to love.
Jesus is about justice. His name, as we pronounce it, is the Greek form of the name Joshua. Joshua, in the Old Testament, who led the people into the promised land, meant liberator. And this sense of liberation was highlighted in 1970 by James Cone, who wrote his book, A Black Theology of Liberation. He wrote, any message that is not related to the liberation of the poor in society is not Christ's message. Any theology that is indifferent to the theme of liberation is not Christian theology. Cone was impatient with the white calls for blacks to be nonviolent without any reflection of their own brutality. In his 1969 book, Black Theology and Black Power, he wrote, therefore, simply to say that Jesus did not use violence is no evidence relevant to the condition of black people as they decide what to do about white expression. And you need to understand the context of when this was written. This was written after the most peaceful black man to ever exist, Martin Luther King, had been assassinated. And even King thought there might be exceptions to nonviolence. In a 1968 speech, the year he died in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, he said, I happen to be a pacifist, but if I had to make a decision about fighting a war against Hitler, I may have temporarily given up my pacifism and taken up arms. This theology of liberation was not limited to the African Americans in America. In Central America, Gustavo Gutierrez wrote A Theology of Liberation in 1971. A theology which has its points in reference of only truths that have been established once and for all, and not the truth which is also the way, He wanted to emphasize that faith is not static, that it is something that is present in the here and now. Theology, thus understood, is attached to praxis. And praxis is a very important word in liberation theology. It basically means the same as practicing your faith, or as the UUs want to say, we are a religion of deeds and not creeds. It's the idea that what you believe will be shown by your works, by what you do to provide for those who are least fortunate. And this idea of liberation continued to expand. In 1973, Mary Daly, in her book Beyond God the Father, argues that making God an object or a male person automatically makes people subject to the patriarchy. And she said it's not important just to replace God with goddess, because that is just still a hierarchy that is oppressive. We need to avoid the hierarchy of subject and object relations, the idea that there's an object that acts upon a subject, that we are subject to that God, and start thinking of God as a verb, as the action itself, that we are godly when we participate in the action of God, not when we submit to the will of a patriarch. And in her book, Gyn Ecology, daily connected the subjugation of women with the subjugation of the earth. And Rosemary Radford Ruther took this further in her book, Gaia and God, an ecofeminist theology of earth healing. If dominating and destruction relations to the earth are interrelated with gender, class, and racial domination, then a healed relation to the earth cannot come about simply through technological fixes. It demands a social reordering to bring about just and loving interrelationships between men and women, between races, between groups presently stratified into social classes. We need to fix the whole system. In the words of Unitarian Universalism, we must realize we are an interdependent web where we each influence each other and we don't seek to control of one group over another. This next song reflects the works of these Christian liberation theologians crying in the wilderness, calling Christianity to reform itself and take action to promote justice and harmony. Hey, Christian brothers, you have other brothers and sisters too.
Hey, Christian brothers, all these people are oppressed by you.
Hey, Christian brothers,
Tell me what you intend to do.
Hey, hey.
Your Jesus is a banker.
I can tell
By the way he says your religion's an anchor, and the whole world carries the weight. I'm waiting. Hey, Christian brothers, you have other brothers and sisters too.
Hey, Christian
Brothers, all these people are oppressed by you.
Hey, Christian
Brothers, so tell me what do you intend to do? Hey, I'm still waiting. Say you call God your father. You then tell the women, just stay in your place. You make distinction by sex, religion, nation, and race.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hey, Christian brothers, you have other brothers and sisters. Hey, Christian brothers, all these people are oppressed by you. Hey,
Christian
brothers, so tell me what do you intend to do?
Won't you tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me?
Yeah, you live in a land of plenty,
While
other people barely exist.
if they start complaining,
So you call them godless socialists.
oh, hey,
Hey, hey. Hey, Christian brothers, you have other your brothers and sisters too.
hey,
Hey,
Christian
brothers, all these people are oppressed by you.
Hey,
Hey,
Christian
brothers, wanna tell me what do you intend to do?
Won't you tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me?
Yeah.
Hey, Christian
Yeah.
brothers.
You
Hey,
have other
Christian
brothers
brothers.
and sisters too.
Hey, Christian brothers.
Brothers and
Hey,
sisters
Christian
too.
brothers. Liberation theology is very critical of traditional Christianity. The old power structure must be torn down to make way for the new. We are currently living in a world, in a time where the world is being turned upside down. The virus is killing people all over the world. poor people, and also leaders of countries are contracting this virus. It is exposing the inadequate structures of the world. Here in the US, people lose their health insurance when they lose their job. People in minority communities, which have been usually placed next to polluting industries where they have higher incidence of asthma, are more susceptible to catching this lung disease. And if they do get sick, they probably have less access to health care. This is why the government has had to act. This crisis might be an opportunity to change our society for the better. Right now, we are hiding in our tombs. We are self-quarantining. This time of quietness and reflection, it's a chance to figure out who we will be when we re-emerge. Will we emerge bringing good news to the poor? Will we bring healing? Will we free the captives? This Easter, we are given the gift of remaking a broken world. We have been forced to simplify our lives, to drive less, to make less frequent trips to the store. And as a result, pollution is down, crime is down. When we are told that we can return to normal, should we? Or will we live for a new world? Or will we remake ourselves and prepare for a new world? Renewal is the message of resurrection and is not limited to Easter Sunday. Every day can be a resurrection day.
It is strange in this time when we are generally with our families on a day like this, we find ourselves separated. But what I would like you to do is to take a moment and think about those that you would like to be with today, the ones that you are not currently with, and I have an assignment for you. I would like you to reach out in your heart and your mind and to embrace them, to actually take this moment to stretch out your understanding and your feeling in your heart. And I want you to use this next song to actually envision them with you as you listen to this next song. Participate in the power of creation. Make yourself anew. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. challenged us to be maladjusted to injustice. Make yourself overcome the past. Make yourself live for what will last. Make yourself learn more than you know. Make yourself. Bob Marley sang, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Break yourself from the ways of old. Break yourself, throw away the mold. Free yourself from your vengeful mind. Make yourself. Mahatma Gandhi said, if we could change ourselves, the tendencies in the world would also change. Make yourself, share with all the earth. Make yourself, find what life is worth. Make yourself again and again. Make yourself, make a better world.
We extinguish the chalice. We extinguish the chalice with these words. Be doers of the word, and not merely hearers. Those who look into the perfect law, the law of liberty, and persevere, being not hearers who forget, but doers who act, they will be blessed in their doing. It's from the book of James. Peace to you all. Shalom. Salam. Namaste.